Hey guys, Sam from BBQ here, and I've had a couple of viewers contact me with problems they're having with their Charmate Lawson smoker. So I thought I'm doing a video today using the Charmate and I would address those issues they're having and hopefully help them out. So the issues they're having with their Charmate Lawson is that when they close the vents, the temperature's not dropping, or when they open them up, the temperature isn't rising. But this changes when they add more coal to the basket. So I'll show you how much coal I put in my basket and how much I put in the chimney for when I start the smoker as well, because I think that does have a big impact on that responsiveness of the temperature. And I'll also show you what I put in my water bowl. So I've done away with the water smoking and I'll show you what I've changed to. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I did to address a lot of my problems was when I assembled the smoker, and that was part of the bottom cup here. Now, I don't know if you can see, I've kind of bent this inner ring that turns and blocks the holes. I've kind of bent that so that it's square, like not square, but just so that when it closes, it actually blocks these holes up. Otherwise, there is quite a big gap between those two rings, the inner and outer ring. So having those square like that, it really does block that hole up. You can see that's nice and tight, no airs getting in there. So that way I can close those vents and yeah, I can get that temperature down. Or I can even close the vents and that coal just dies out, and then I can reuse the coal and later grill. So another problem was that the grill wasn't getting up to temperature. Open the vents and nothing happens. So to combat that, I've found that I need to put in quite a bit of coal, and I'll show you how much I put in. So I probably put about that much, just cover that basket completely. And I'll do this even if I'm only cooking for like an hour. I'll just fill it up, and any leftover coals I can use in the next cook. So as for lighting the smoker, I use quite a big chimney. I basically completely fill that. So I'll show you that. So I'll completely fill that. I'll put the fire lighters, just sit them on the coal, light it up, sit the chimney on top. So then all of this will get really, really hot. Wait for it to ash over the whole thing. There'll be a little bit of ashed over coal in the bottom, and then I'll just pour that whole thing straight on top like that. So then all of this is just going to be hot. It's going to burn down into those bottom layers, and that will provide me with hours of cooking. And it's super hot. So if I open those vents right up, the top and bottom vents, this thing gets really, really hot. But then if I need a lower temperature, I can close the vents and it does drop down. Now, when I was building this little vent here, the top vent, I've kind of bent that a little bit, just made sure that when it closes, there's very, very little gap there for any air to escape. So when those bottom and top vents are closed, this thing is almost airtight. And with that, I can control the temperature really well, and I don't have any problems getting it right up to, 200 degrees if I want, or I can have it down low and slow at 110 or even lower with this. For those lower temperatures, I just put in a little bit less coals. If I'm doing, say, jerky, or I wanted to smoke some cheese, I'd just put a little bit of coal in there, throw some wood on it, and just close those vents so that it, maintains that low temperature. And here's a little trick I found. This is the water pan, what would be the water pan for the smoker. I started off using water in here, and I found that getting the temperature up over kind of 120 was pretty hard. Like, I'd open all the vents up and it would, it would get up there, but it was just fairly slow. So I've done away with the water. I've put this stuff in. I mean, it's pretty dirty now. It's been used a bit, but there's some clean stuff here. This stuff is just the fat absorber you'd put in the bottom of like a gas barbecue. So I've just thrown that in here. Can't remember what it is. I think it's like zeolite or something. Some kind of clay material anyway. And what that does is it adds a lot of thermal mass to the smoker. So it takes a little while to heat it up, but once it's up to temperature, it just maintains temperature really, really well. There's no fluctuations or anything with wind. If I have to open it to put more wood in, close it up, and it comes up to temperature almost instantly. And then I also don't have to worry about opening the smoker, filling this thing with water all the time. And before, when I was using the water would evaporate, the temperature would spike, and I mean, that's no good. But using this stuff instead of water just gives me a lot more stable temperatures. And I kind of figure that if I'm spritzing the meat, I don't need the water pan. I mean, that's doing probably more than the water pan would anyway, so I'm not too worried. But I have found using this stuff really helps. All right, so there's a few little tips that I hope you find useful. As I say, adding the fat absorber instead of the water, that really helps with just more stable temperatures. And making sure that those air vents actually close, that enables me to lower that temperature. And having more coal in that basket, I can get the temperatures up nice and hot as well. So that's it for now. I'm gonna get on to cooking this lamb. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, share it with somebody who may need some help, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. That way you won't miss out on any future videos, and I'll see you again next time.